This committee met about 2 months ago, and the chairman, who can call any person in the world who walks this earth as a witness, called this guy, who tweeted just a couple weeks before the hearing, "Fuck cops." Your witness tweeted that. Not one of you disavowed that guy. Not one of you said that was inappropriate. I was stunned that you call yourself a pro-police party and you bring a witness before us that says, "Fuck cops."
We have a video to play. I think this will provide some visual summation. Please.
The police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
But we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
It is outdated. It is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street.
So yes, defund your butts. Direct that money.
We propose to redirect over $7 million from the police bureau.
The police department here in Minneapolis needs to be dismantled, and we need to start anew.
What you're about to watch is a congressional exchange that focuses on past public statements and present-day accountability in a highly visible setting. During a recent hearing, Representative Andy Biggs presented a series of video clips featuring previous remarks made by several Democratic figures regarding police funding, reform, and broader public safety policies. Rather than relying solely on argument or interpretation, the approach centered on recorded statements, allowing the committee and viewers to directly observe what had been said in earlier contexts. The purpose of presenting these clips was to draw attention to how positions expressed in the past compare with current messaging from elected officials. As the exchange unfolds, it becomes less about a single statement and more about consistency, how public figures communicate their views over time and how those views are addressed when revisited in a formal hearing. This moment sets the stage for a broader discussion about transparency, accountability, and how political positions evolve in response to changing circumstances.
Thank you. And I just want to address Mr. Johnson, who said you brought the receipts. Well, Mr. Johnson, I've got some receipts for you. This committee met about 2 months ago, and the chairman, who can call any person in the world who walks this earth as a witness, called this guy, who tweeted just a couple weeks before the hearing, "Fuck cops." Your witness tweeted that. Not one of you disavowed that guy. Not one of you said that was inappropriate. I was stunned that you call yourself a pro-police party and you bring a witness before us that says, "Fuck cops." I don't believe in that, but I thought if you didn't believe in that, you would have taken the opportunity to say it. But no, not only did you not disavow it, you invited the guy here in Congress to be your witness. Imagine if we had ever done that. We didn't. You did. Second, I would love Mr. Johnson to disavow, because, by the way, I will disavow the defund the police movement. I've never called for it. I believe, just as President Biden believes when he addressed Congress, that we should fund the police. But, Mr. Johnson, will you disavow your colleague, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who tweets out and makes money off of a defund the FBI movement? Because they're police too. They protect us too. But I don't think you will. I think you're going to sit silent, and your silence, by the way, is complicity. I yield back.
Gentlelady yields back. The gentleman from Virginia is recognized.
Yield to the gentleman from Arizona.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Appreciate the backpedaling at an alarming rate from the other side. Watch out, you might fall over backwards. We have a video to play. I think this will provide some visual summation. Please.
The police has to happen. We need to defund the police.
Mayor Eric Garcetti saying, take some of the money from policing, about $150 million.
I applaud Eric Garcetti for doing what he's done.
But we need to completely dismantle the Minneapolis Police Department.
It is outdated. It is wrong-headed thinking to think that the only way you're going to get communities to be safe is to put more police officers on the street.
So yes, defund your butts. Defund you.
Yes, I support the reallocation of resources
from NYPD.
We will be moving funding from the NYPD.
Yes, I support the defund movement. I'm for responsible reallocation of resources.
And defund the police.
I think you do all those other things, you don't need all the money that's going to the police department. So yeah, I mean, the spirit of it, I do support that.
Yeah, and a lot of us were asked if we could imagine a future without police back in 2017 when we were running for office. And I answered yes to that question.
We are going to reduce funding in the police department and redirect that money.
We propose to redirect over $7 million from the police bureau.
The police department here in Minneapolis needs to be dismantled, and we need to start anew.
In some necessary cases, completely dismantling those police forces.
Police departments are taking a sizable amount of the budget of a lot of municipalities and other entities. We need to look at those budgets, pull some of the money back.
But we talk about defunding the police, defunding the Pentagon.
My push is that we defund our police departments.
Defunding police means defunding police. If these reports are accurate, then these proposed cuts to the NYPD budget are a disingenuous illusion. This is not a victory. The freshman Democrat adding, the fight to defund policing will continue.
Mr. Chairman, I also have several articles that I would like to submit for the record. Instead of reading all the titles, I'll just provide those to you, if that's okay.
Without objection.
And I'll yield back to the gentleman from Virginia, Mr. Klein.
Would the gentleman yield?
Yield to the chair.
Yeah, I would just say in response to the gentleman from California, of course we disavow that tweet. That is obvious. And if we'd have known that individual had that tweet out there, I doubt if he'd have been invited as a witness. With that, I yield back to the gentleman from Virginia.
At the center of this exchange is an ongoing national conversation about policing, funding priorities, and the balance between reform and public safety. In recent years, discussions around law enforcement have included proposals to reallocate or reduce police funding as part of broader reform efforts. These proposals were often framed within a wider context of addressing systemic issues, improving community outcomes, and reconsidering how resources are distributed. At the same time, there has been increasing emphasis from many policymakers on supporting law enforcement agencies, particularly in response to concerns about rising crime rates and community safety. This shift in emphasis has created a complex landscape where past statements and present positions may not always align clearly. During the hearing, Representative Biggs used previously recorded clips to highlight earlier remarks, bringing those statements into the current discussion. The use of video evidence changes the dynamic of the exchange, moving it from general debate to direct reference. Members of the committee are then placed in a position where they may clarify, reaffirm, or reinterpret those earlier comments. This reflects a broader pattern in political discourse, where statements made in one context are later revisited under different circumstances, often with greater scrutiny. It also highlights the role of congressional hearings as a forum for examining not just policy, but the consistency and clarity of public communication. What this exchange ultimately demonstrates is the layered nature of policy discussions and the challenges of maintaining consistency over time. Issues like policing and public safety are not static, they evolve alongside social conditions, public opinion, and legislative priorities. As a result, statements made at one point may be revisited later, sometimes requiring additional context or clarification. Hearings like this serve an important function in that process. They provide a structured environment where past positions can be reviewed, questioned, and better understood in relation to current policy discussions. For viewers, the key takeaway may depend on perspective. Some may see this as a necessary form of accountability, ensuring that public officials address their own words and positions. Others may view it as part of the broader political process, where complex issues are debated and reframed over time. Either way, moments like this contribute to ongoing conversations about transparency, responsibility, and the role of elected officials in shaping public policy. So now the question turns to you. How should past statements be evaluated when circumstances change? And what level of consistency should be expected from public leaders? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more clear, structured, and fact-based breakdowns of major political moments, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay connected for future updates.